Hey everybody. In this video, I'll be going over the 5.2 assignment for CS330, and then we're dealing with textures this week, which is that is the wrong image. It doesn't matter. Anyways, this is the same scene. Basically, I do not have the actual thing up, so that's fine. We're just gonna run the code right now. Basically, they have it's an untextured scene. It's all colors are white. And our objective is to put textures to at least two of them, I believe. But it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna texture. I'm just gonna texture two random things. Uh, and this is going off of I'm literally going off of the OpenGL sample provided in week 1 for that because it's pretty straightforward. Because in the OpenGL sample, that they have, I'm gonna bring that down over here because I got it up for reference. Is that they have the how to load textures and all that, and you could peruse this because there's everything you're gonna need for the project. You can reference from here, and I'm pretty sure. I think it's still the same that I hope I hope you have your own customized proposal you're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know what to do. But you can use this as a reference, and that's what I'm gonna pull this off this screen on my other screen for my reference, so we can look at the main code for the assignment here. So we're gonna want to load textures and apply the textures, right? So you have some new functions in this week's code. Oh, one thing you're gonna want to do is go to the view manager because they don't have that set. Is on line 107 here in the view manager, uncomment the code, and you're going to. I don't know if you're gonna do this every week, but because last week you implemented the camera controls where you could scroll to make it go faster, Q and E to go up and down. You might have to re-implement those changes. I don't know. I think it's just texturing, but at least you want that uncomment that code at 107 here, so it makes it easier for you to get around the scene because it'll capture your cursor and all that, make it simple. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to load some textures. So I'm going to go back to the scene manager, and I'm going to go to, we have our new function for creating a texture, which takes the file name, which is the file path, and a tag, which is really nice. I like that. Battersby really outdid himself on fixing up this course. So what it does is it'll take your image, and if everything's correct with height, all that, it'll load it. It'll load it into the program with texture ID and tag. And as the comments say, that there's got a function for binding the textures. It's got a function for destroying the textures because you need to do that. And it's got a function for finding the texture IDs and the texture slots. So what we need to do is we need to scroll down to the scale. I don't know if we're going to have to mess with the scale or not. I remember previously in the previous what it was is that the default was like 5.0, but it would basically repeat your textures, and that was kind of a problem. Yeah. So okay, perfect. I'm not doing anything wrong here because it says please refer to the code in the OpenGL sample project for assistance. So if you've already done that and you're watching this still, I'm going to tell you the same thing. But I'm literally looking at the code from the OpenGL sample on my other screen. So for loading the textures here is what they have they have a boolean for b return, if I can spell, and they have set that equal to false. All right. So now we want to load textures. So what I have done is I have gone into the 5.2 assignment folder, right? I wanted to debug, and I've created a textures folder. And I've put in a brick texture and a ground texture for that, which I'm going to be referencing later. And it's very important that the dimensions of this are either, so the dimensions for both of these are 1024 by 1024. It's very, very, very important that all of them are either 512 by 512 or 1024 by 1024 or 2048 by 2048. or et cetera, like 2048. What's next after that? The 4K 4096 by 4096. It has to be those exact values, one of those exact values, because if this image was like 1000 by 900, for example, you're gonna run into issues where it's not gonna load. It'll either load black or you'll get an error. I actually had someone for last couple terms ago that were having a bunch of issues, and it turns out that their image was off by 1 pixel. It was literally like it was 1023 by 1023, and it wouldn't load it. So it's be very mindful of that. You can go to ambientcg.com, I think it is, for textures to use. It's probably the simplest thing, and just download the JPEGs because they're not as big. I think this one's like it's like a megabyte, right? While the PNGs, especially when you get into like 4K textures, if you want to do 4K textures, that's fine, but it's gonna make your upload zip a lot bigger depending on how many textures you're using there. So I already got a bricks and ground texture there, so we're going back over the code. And I'm doing this, I have to adjust 2 things here, because I'm not done yet. I have to change my working directory to the debug folder. And I'm going to make sure that that is saying that is the debug folder, which it is. We are in the debug folder. Click there. Okay, we apply. Okay. And also the main code, I have to change the pathing again. So the exe and the exe will work as well for this. So all right. So yeah, so if I've changed my working directory to the debug folder, and since I've done that, I have to adjust line 71 and 72 of the main code so that it'll still find the vertex and fragment shaders. Now back to Scene Manager. Now we're going to load in my my shapes here, and since I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. So I'm referencing the code, but I have to reference where I have the textures at. And it's gonna be important. If you have the textures anywhere weird, you have to be careful about the pathing of that. So mine's just in the textures folder, and the first one is bricks.jpg, and the tag is I'm gonna tag it as ground. Oh no. I'm gonna tag it as just brick. Tag as brick. Don't do double. Hello. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Okay. Finish that off, and I think I have ruined that in some sense. Yes, I did. I just wanted to do that. What am I doing with my life right now? Brick. Oh yeah, I didn't do that. So, nope, I'm doing something wrong here. Oh yeah, I got an extra. I don't want that there. I want that there. That should be good. Okay. So we got that. So I've created the texture for my just my brick, and you want to name it specifically for whatever. And I'm gonna do my ground. Import my ground. I'm just name it ground texture there. So that's gonna import that brick texture that I had in my folder and my ground texture. I'm gonna run it real quick, just make sure our path is correct. So I haven't tested this because it should tell me, yep, my image is loaded successfully, and it tells you the width, height, and channels. And again, remember you want it in increments of the 512 or 1024 or 2048. So we're good there. So we've implemented our textures, and I'm going to scroll down from the OpenGL sample to double check how they're doing it now. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do the ground texture on the plane. So this is the plane here. So we're drawing the plane, but before we draw the plane, we want to set that texture value. So we're not going to need the shader color, but we are going to need the set shader texture to the ground. We want that ground tag that I used specifically. And we're gonna set the UV scale here, because depending on what you're doing, you might want to do different scales, but most of the time 1.0 is going to be fine. But if you have something where you want it to repeat, you're going to want to boost that up to like 5 or something. And that should be it for that one there. Um, and then I will. So we set the texture and we set the scale, and then from there we should be able to go to, we want to texture one more thing. So I'll do the cylinder. So again, I'll comment that out, and I'm just gonna copy and paste this from what I previously did. Where am I at? Cylinder, 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 draw cylinder. Yep, right there. That's it. I'm losing my mind already. And I'm gonna use brick for that, and I'm gonna use the same UV scale for that. And you want to set the textures before you draw your cylinder. Everything you want to do before doing the final draw, because it's taking all this information. So if I run this, it should work. I'm learning with you right now. Perfect. Okay, so we have our ground texture in there, and we have our brick texture as well on that. So and if you wanted to play with, I'm like, that's basically the general guide on how you want to texture everything. You just extrapolate from there. And then let's say I wanted to play around and make the brick like 5.0, and it probably, I believe it'll make the bricks really small. For example, so it's like something to play around with, because you might want to play with the UV scale. So yeah, so you got like it's repeating a lot. Let's make it smaller on there. You probably want something different for that. But now the ground looks kind of, I mean, it looks all right, I guess. I want to fix that UV scale for the should I Control Z that? So let's go to my ground, and let's play. I'm just gonna play around one more time. We'll make it 5. Reload that. Yeah, so now we got the ground. As I've made it a little bit, I keep scrolling like I have these camera controls implemented. But yeah, so you could see that the it's hard to tell because of the texture, but if you look at the dots, the oval dots right here, you can tell that it's actually repeating. So they got, up and down there. I got all those little oval shaped dots. You can see where it's repeating there because I set it to 5.0. But at 1.0, it's just going to stretch it across the entire plane, right? So, but now this one, since I set it at 5.0, it's stretching it, 5 by 5. I'm pretty sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across there. That helps with that. So that hopefully this video is helpful. If you have any questions, you can reach out.